Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to SECO's Capital Markets Day presentation. We kindly request all cameras to be switched off and all microphones on mute during the presentation, please. Before I hand over to your host today, please be advised there will be an opportunity to ask questions during and at the end of the presentation. In order to do so, please use the raise hand function on your screen, or for those dialing in, it's *9 on your keypad. I now have pleasure handing over to SECO's Head of Investor Relations, Marco Parisi. Please go ahead, Marco.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the SECO Capital Markets Day. A lot of people are already connected. I'm Marco Parisi, Head of IR, and I'm introducing you the agenda of today's meeting, where we illustrate the strategy, the business model, and the market positioning of SECO, and give a few updates on how the business is going right now. We will start with the CEO, Max Mauri, who will give an overview on how we are scaling up the value chain from a hardware to a service company. After that, there will be a business update from Vincenzo Di Fronzo, CSO, and Dario Freddi, CEO of SECOmind. Alfonso Velosa from Gartner will then provide an overview on the edge computing, IoT and AI market scenario. And we will then dive into the Clea business with Ajay Malik, CEO of SECOmind USA, and Maurizio Caporali, Chief Product Officer, who will illustrate the value of AI and a few practical applications of Clea. After a first Q&A session and a coffee break, Andrea Toigo from Intel will provide an insight on the partnership between Intel and SECO. And then with the CTO, Davide Catani, and the COO, Angelo Peloni, we will dive again into our business model to see our R&D and operations at work to offer high-value solutions to customers and remain ahead of competition in a challenging scenario like today's. Finally, Max Mauri again will illustrate how we are planning to further accelerate our growth with our partnerships and M&A strategy. So thank you very much for your attention. I will leave the speech to Max.
Thank you very much, Marco, and ciao to all. It has been a year since we went public, and it's my pleasure today to be here and to explain to you how we are scaling up the value chain, or basically moving the company from an hardware company to a service company. Well, first of all, let me start with the scenario of the market where we are acting. Is a scenario where there is a huge demand of digitalization. Many customers in almost all the domains are asking for digitalized product. This is driven by the most important things I should say is also in industrial field, people want to have an user experience very similar to what they are getting every day from their mobile phone. And in this kind of situation, also all the customers basically want to start to harness on their data and to evolve their business into service. Well, in this kind of situation, what we are doing is basically continue to look at the market, and we are basically keep evolving our strategy. We already did the transition from a module to system, and also we launched successfully Clea in March 2021. Clea is our IoT AI platform, and now I can say without any kind of doubt that we are getting a lot of traction on Clea in all the verticals that we are acting, and also all additional verticals where we weren't present, and Dario will provide you specific overview later on. And so basically what we created is an ecosystem that generates value within itself. This is the reason why in our vision is the fact that we wanted to open up this ecosystem to all our customers and partners. And this is the reason why we are working towards to launch a Clea App Store. And the launch is planned for Q1 2023. And the App Store will be a place where customers basically will sell their services to their final customers. And that's amazing in my mind, the evolution that we are making with our business model that put actually SECO at the forefront of the competition. Well, as you know, what we are doing is to provide an end-to-end solution to our customers, covering almost all their needs and resolving complexity, starting from the design and the production of the boards, also to creating a cool system with a touch display and all the mechanical parts around, finally to provide, thanks to Clea, our software stack, our platform, an end-to-end solution into IoT and AI, basically algorithms to enable customers to harness their data by themselves. And what we are doing is working with a lot of different customers in a lot of different markets, like smart city, smart building, smart factory, which is very important, vending machine, transportation, defense, fleet management, medicals, and many others, actually developing application based on AI with a specific algorithm for any specific vertical. Well, we are actually creating a lot of IP, and we wanted to leverage on it in the future using our App Store Clea. This is an Apple-like strategy. Basically, we are cutting and paste with, of course, some specific difference what Apple actually did into the B2C market. We are trying to put and combine something very similar, just to give you the sense of what we are doing into the industrial markets. I'm absolutely convinced that we have cooked up a magic recipe to allow SECO to be extremely successful in the forthcoming years. And saying that, I now hand over to Vincenzo and Dario that will provide you an update on our business. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Max. Just it's time to share the screen. We're ready. So good morning, everybody. I'm Vincenzo Di Fronzo. I'm the Chief Sales Officer at SECO. Together with me, Dario.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dario Freddi. I'm the CEO of the European division of SECO Mind. Thank you very much for your time, for being here today.
Good. So in the next slides, we will provide an update about our business, either on the edge computing part and over the Clea platform. But let's move to the next slide and have a look to the key figures of the edge computing business. I would like to start saying that the CAGR is in a strong revenue in several different markets, and this reflects for us in a plus 44% growth of our business compared in Q1 compared the same period of last year. Our order intake increase of a 2.5 factor in February 2022 against the same period of 2021. But this is not all. What makes our business particularly strong is the long-term visibility and its evolution. From this standpoint, I would say our order backlog collected at February 2022 is 157 million. And we realized in March 2022, the all-time record of 27 million order intake. We have a continuous growing pipeline of new opportunity in the time frame of 2022-2023 that is over the 300 million. And I would say that 90 million plus is coming from new customers. This is very relevant data for us. Despite that, we can rely over a 12 months rolling forecast that is shared by our top customers on a quarterly basis. And another very important point is that with the new design, we are able to collect visibility for over 5 years. 5 years in the average, because this is usually the time, the product life cycle with our customers. Along with this, we have a very strong relation with the existing customers that in the average, it's over 10 years. All this makes our business very stable and solid. Looking at 2021 revenue breakdown, we can see that our geo presence gets stronger in the EMEA and also continue to be strong in the US. But specifically for EMEA, this is thanks to the fact that we realized the M&A of the former Gartner Fricken and Kitten group, while for what concerns the end markets, we continue to have a very strong performance in the key market where we're already present. I would say definitely industrial, fitness, medical, and vending. Another interesting factor is the top 10 accounts concentration. In fact, the revenue that is coming from those accounts moved from 69% down to 35% in 2022. That means that despite our growing the revenue, our dependency from the top 10 accounts revenue reduced dramatically. Though this is very, very relevant factor. Now, let me introduce, before I introduce the slide, I'd like to talk about the meaning of design win in order to give a bit more clarification about this term. Design win is basically the approval of our customer of the adoption of one of the SECO solution that will become revenue just after usually 6 to 12 months time frame. So basically the development time of our customer appliance. That said, you can imagine that it's very relevant for our business, considering usually the life cycle of our customer appliance is within 5 to 7 years. Therefore, we project around 65 million growth in the 2023, starting from this design win value of 65 million. That is shared as follows: share 25 million in the US and mainly in the medical, industrial automation, and aerospace. 25 million in the MEA, mainly in the smart building, in the industrial automation and vending. And finally, 50 million euro in Asia Pacific, coming from entertainment, automotive, and telco. But I'd like to give you even a flavor about a couple of those interesting projects that are behind this design win. And specifically, referring to the MEA and this 12 million smart building, I'd like to mention that this is related to a digital notice board for the residential and the enterprise. And in the Asia Pacific, we have a very interesting project in the automotive for a dashboard of one of the more relevant emerging electrical vehicle manufacturer. Now, before I hand over to Dario, I'd like to share 3 examples of the business that is coming from the synergies of the M&A integration. The first one concerns an existing customer of SECO Northern Europe, where we have been selling an upgraded solution from SECO South Europe product portfolio into a scientific instrumentation appliance. The second one is related to SECO Southern Europe customer, where we proposed an HMI from the SECO Northern Europe portfolio, plus SECO Mind Clea software as a service and the retrofit hardware. And this is within an UPS application. And the third one, it's a SECO Northern Europe customer that adopted a SECO Southern Europe Edge solution within their real-time spectrum analysis for the clean room. That said, we expect that the business that is coming from the synergy in the period of 2023, 2024 is going to be far larger than what we've been forecasting during the due diligence of those companies. This is all on my side. I'd like to hand over to Dario that will continue on the Clea part of the business.
Thank you very much, Vincenzo, for your insights. Moving forward, I think that even before I tell you how it's going, I want to remind you of how Clea business is looking like and why it is so interesting for SECO and why it is I will even say transformation for what we're doing. We should start by looking at the gross profit margin. So keep in mind that we are talking about software as a service here. So we are talking about a very different gross profit margin percentage. We're looking at something in the range of 80% because we are just looking at costs from infrastructure and connectivity. And most of all, the business that we are doing is stacking 1 year over the other. So Vincenzo has introduced you to the concept of design win. Now, when we talk about a design win and we talk about a year-by-year buying commitment from the customer, we're looking at a steady number of devices which grow year by year that, of course, are being paid year over year with the same amount. So let's imagine for a second that a customer asks for 1,000 devices per year. You will have a 1,000 sale for software first year, 1,000 the second, and so forth. But when you look at software, things are very different. The business model of Clea charges a recurring fee per device each month. This means that in the first year, we will have 1,000 devices connecting and generating revenue. The second year, we will have 2,000, the third year, 3,000, and so forth. So this business scales very, very good, in a very, very good way. As such, this is another thing that makes the business so interesting for us, and of course, makes it very, very attractive from any standpoint. But how is it going? Well, the Clea suite was announced something more than a year ago. So we are talking about a very young product. But as we look at what we have today, we have a pipeline that is growing steadily, and it's growing even more and more right now. I can tell you that over the last month, we have been looking at 20 potential projects with Clea in the most diverse segments. Max has named a few of them, but I would like to stress the fact that we are seeing a lot of traction in smart building, smart factory, smart cities, appliances such as professional appliances and industrial appliances, a lot in the energy market, for example, for electric vehicles and everything that is connected to them. So we are seeing a widespread interest that is completely horizontal when we look at the market. And most of all, the pipeline potential that we currently have on board is currently breaking the 500,000 devices threshold. So let me say that I am super excited about what we're doing. And I do truly believe that what we have right now is extremely solid and it's working very, very well. And this is because our customers are currently looking at how to harness their data. And Clea is most of the times the answer. The capability we have of providing a full-fledged solution is really making a difference in the market right now. But to make this even more, let's say, concrete and real to you, I want to name some examples of what we've been doing and the potential of these projects. And I chose 3 of them, which I think are very significant also when you look at what kind of markets we are looking at and where are we going. The first one is in the vending area. So as you know, SECO is a very strong player in the vending and coffee world. And this kind of work needs data. They've been historically far ahead in collecting data, gathering data, and making sense of some of this. But when you put artificial intelligence in the mix, things start to change. And vending machines are just the perfect vertical where we can put together something very, very interesting from our customers. Now, this is an example of one of our biggest accounts right now who has already signed on Clea and is currently implementing his vending machine's algorithm. Why would he do that? Because it's not only about cost, as I like to say, it's also about revenue. AI can impact directly the revenue of our customers. Imagine that you're walking by a vending machine and you see, for example, that your favorite coffee has a 10% discount. You will probably buy that. But of course, that cup of coffee is more expensive than the standard one. This means that the target of these people is usually to increase the revenue per cup, as they call it, for what they sell. And what we do helps them exactly in tracking that. Then there is, for example, the customization in how you build recipes on the machine or optimizing the logistics of the consumables. Ajay and Maurizio will tell you this much better than I can do later today. But this customer in particular is mostly spread in the US market. So this also tells you something about how far we'll be able to spread geographically. And Ajay will also tell you more about this, Clea, overall in this year and a half. And the business size we're looking at right now is something in the range of 80,000 devices. So it's an impressive fleet that I'm very sure will generate a lot more value for our customer right now. When we talk about smart buildings, there's so much to be said. And to be fairly honest, it was very hard for me to pick one example of what we're currently doing right now. But I thought that this billboard is one of the coolest products we are doing today. And so I'm very proud of presenting it as well. And this billboard goes into private houses. So it goes in these buildings and replaces the standard billboards that you see. Probably, if you've ever been to a household, you have seen some papers on a billboard. Imagine these papers no longer exist, and now you have a digital screen. But as you see, this digital screen comes with a camera, comes with some sensors, and comes with the capability of interacting with the building. Now, just imagine what you could do if you could advertise on this building. That's exactly what our customer is doing. They are selling very targeted advertisements, which are, and when I say targeted, I mean geographically targeted, because this thing is in a physical way. And the information that we collect about the people going around is vital to be sold to the advertisement company. This, I don't think I need to say how much value this can generate and how this can be valuable to the customer. I will just say that these guys are making a huge breakthrough in the EMEA market. So they're currently spreading across Italy and Europe. And we are looking at probably more than 100,000 billboards in the forthcoming years. So this is just an amazing business. And I think that's also a perfect example on how we are capable of addressing non-traditional markets, as I call them, because this is literally a new product that is being put on the market today. Last but not least, I wanted to show you what we're doing in part of the industrial world, also because it's not every day you see artificial intelligence and IoT applied to a heating system. Because when you think about a heating system, very seldom you think about it being connected to the internet or generating data, but guess what? It does. And in a world today where energy consumption is becoming more and more relevant, everybody is striving to save power and it's striving to find new ways to save money out of this, because there's the environment, there's the cost, there's so many arguments today to save energy. And so this customer is building with us all the AI components to ensure that their heating system will consume less and less and be as efficient as possible. This brings optimized cost, of course, but this also opens up a whole new world of services that we can provide to the end user. And one of the key features of the services we provide, and I think that was a very successful case, is to work together with our customer in helping them finding out what their new business model will look like. Because when we talk about servitizing a product, we are talking about changing the business model of our end customer. Here, we have been working in very close contact with them, and we have prepared some scenarios that will not only allow them to provide the base service for, let's say, save energy, but in the future, they will provide more innovative services that have been designed hand in hand with our team, leveraging our experience and leveraging our skills. And all in all, this is extremely important because when we talk about transformation, customers need partners to guide them into this new road. All in all, I think that Clea is really making a breakthrough in the market, and I'm very excited about what's going to come next. I think that we are building something very solid, and looking at the App Store that Max has talked about before, I really believe we are on a very, very promising path. And I really believe that the best is yet to come for us. But now, before I think we are done with this, I also have to say that I'm humbled to be hosting one of the key Gartner analysts in IoT, Alfonso Velosa, who has been kind enough to join us today. And it's such a big pleasure for me to introduce him. So I think Alfonso has already connected. Alfonso, are you there?
Dario, no, Alfonso will join at 4:30 exactly. So
Okay.
I think now we can use the time with Ajay in the interest of time of everyone in the call. So Ajay, maybe you can start your presentation and hand over to Alfonso. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Let me share my screen. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, Dario, and thank you, Max, for the introductions. So I am Ajay Malik. I am the CEO of SECO Mind USA. We were a company specializing in AI. We are about 150 people located in India and Europe and Brazil and USA. And we were acquired by SECO in June last year. And we have been doing a lot of AI applications and bringing those AI, and we have a team with the neuroscientists, data scientists, ML engineers, AI engineers, hardware engineers, cloud engineers, and we have been working on building AI applications for cloud and for IoT, and bringing our AI applications, AI services in part of Clea. It has made not only it has made us to bring the applications very easily to the customers in front of them for their use cases, and also enabled us to bring with a rapid time to market, enabling our customers, manufacturers of various products to offer new services very easily using the Clea App Store. I will talk about the capabilities which my team has. So we have a team which is specializing in computer vision and audio AI around that, and I'm sure you have heard and know about a lot of use cases in the space, which include video analytics, speech synthesis, body pose estimation, use cases for the fitness industry, use cases for defense industry. We have some customers in defense sector who are building applications for drone detection, classification. We are also doing the AI from the recognizing the things on the ground or in the air from the drones itself. And we have specialized in AI world, not only building the AI that goes in the cloud, we have specifically specialized in building the AI that goes in the device, as well as we also build AI that can be implemented in terms of FPGAs. So which enables us to build AI at a really extreme edge level so that we can create high performance and with almost no latency AI models working closer to the point of action. We have built, company has efficiency and proficiency in building conversational AI bots. And when I say conversational, it's not just about chatbot. It is about understanding the intent of conversation so that you can respond properly. You can understand what is the intent, what are the entities involved in the conversation, and what is the action supposed to be taken place. We also have significant expertise around cybersecurity, and cybersecurity being a big part of IoT, not from the device side also, but from the cloud side. And it's one of the top use cases on the mind of the customers in almost every sector. Then we work on recommendation engines, and recommendation engines are very useful, not just from the retail. They are like where you can predict the user behavior, what user would like. And as you know, a lot of big companies like Amazon, Netflix, and they all have made and they make a significant use of their recommendation engines and producing extreme high value revenue using those. And we have built these recommendation engines which can be used by the customers of Clea who are the manufacturers or who are the distributors and using this product and offering new services or applications to their customers. And of course, there is always a use case, and there are around anomalies and forecasts, and which are well proven use cases which enable how businesses for like sales forecast, inventory forecast, demand management. As you see, supply chain is already a big problem around the world, and helping them with the supply chain management so that they can manage their lead times, ordering the right amount of products, and they are utilizing, they are keeping their inventories at the most optimal level. These things really help. And these applications for anomalies forecast, for example, are also like many other AI applications which we have built, are very cookie cutter. And so they can be deployed from one customer to another customer, from one use case to another use case very easily. And this is enabling customers for like Dario mentioned, we have big customers who are willing to offer significant dollars per device per month for the applications which we provide on in these use cases. And we are building applications, as Dario mentioned also earlier. We are big with vending machine customers, a lot of use cases around that. Even the augmented reality, which I mentioned here, a huge use case around the vending machine, where the people want to buy the product from the vending machine, but they can experience and see how the product will feel, how the virtual try on, whether it's clothes or glasses or jewelry or anything, and they can feel how the product will feel like on them or their experience. They can share with other people and see if the other people like it, and then they can perhaps buy it. So enabling all these opportunities, becoming a huge use case in the vending machine industry. We have solutions in on most of these use cases applicable in defense and healthcare and agricultural industry. If you see the Clea, the main thing is it makes it so easy. We have a SDK which is implemented, and this can be integrated in the device in matters of days to weeks. And once it's implemented, all the applications which are enabled in the Clea cloud and all the applications which we have, they all become automatically enabled. So this enables people to have a large number of applications, large number of upsell opportunities. And it's not just about upsell, it's about creating the right user experience, so that they can build the right loyalty, they can build the right brand for themselves and present the customer, the product, the ability to use the products right and maximize the value of the product. And this can be enabled by Clea SDK integration in a device and enabling all the everything around it, device management and artificial intelligence, user experience easily with it. So it enables there. And not only this, although we have AI as a service and Clea and the device, we also, as a team in SECO, we also support and provide a 24/7 service. And what 24/7 service enables is, with a cloud or with any system which is working all the time, it enables people to be able to rely on it, and they know that there is a team of engineering experts who are watching the cloud for anything, which is important in this age of cybersecurity or anything wrong that may happen. I think that's my last slide here. And if Alfonso is here, or otherwise I can pass it on to Mauricio.
Hi, this is Alfonso Velosa from Gartner.
Hi, Alfonso, thank you very much to join us. Maybe you can share your presentation by yourself.
Certainly,
right?
I can do. Yes,
Okay.
Give me a second then.
Okay, so thank you very much. You can go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I'm taking the share screen. There you go. Okay. So hopefully you can see my screen now. Yeah. So welcome everybody. And thank you to everybody at SECO for the opportunity to chat with you today. I want to talk a little bit about this with you based on the guidance that we'd heard from SECO, to think about what are the implications of where the market is and what's driving the need for edge computing. Why do we need the IoT capabilities, but also why AI and intelligent applications are increasingly becoming important to us. And just to start with, if I look at what we see in the market, what I would emphasize to you is that I see a huge, huge demand for things. So on the left, what you see here is our current view of shipments. And so I want you to keep in mind as I'm discussing this, that this is just shipments. This is not retrofitting existing environments. If we were to add that, that would give us even more environments where IoT-enabled assets exist. But when we look at our shipment forecast, we are looking at it to grow by 8.6% to reach about 3 billion units in 2030. I mean, I would want to emphasize, I would want my savings to grow by 8.6%. So this is actually one of the things that we see right now in the market. Very strong adoption by OEMs of IoT capabilities that they're incorporating in the products, but also retrofits of existing environments, manufacturing, healthcare, oil and gas, where they're deploying this. So when we think about the environment, the technologies that we need for this cover a very wide spectrum. What you see on the right here is what we call the radar for emerging technologies. And we've tried to structure it so that we can think about technologies that are further out, 6 to 8 years, all the way to the now, the 0 to 1 years. As you can see, we see edge AI, 5G, cyber physical security as now kinds of capabilities. But other things that contribute to IoT and edge projects include IoT platforms, an IoT edge architecture, or for example, predictive maintenance, where it's now a little bit more of a application plus the IoT capabilities. I'll also have you note that we have some things here that go beyond a little bit of the technologies. For example, product servitization or product as a service, where we're seeing changes in business models, or smart spaces. So the other part about this, as you think about all these, is that when we're looking at this specific market, the evolution is such that we're bringing together both a bigger and bigger collection of technologies, but also that the thought process in terms of what does that enterprise want to do with my capabilities and who do I need to work with, what trusted partner I have, is a fundamental driver in the conversation. And so all this comes together in terms of, first, for IoT platforms, we see a very significant growth. It's jumped by 8.6% with a CAGR of 33% in our view from 2020 to 2025. So we see it reaching 11 billion. But I want to emphasize first that this is just the IoT platform market. The services that go on top of that, the additional applications, the communications, the edge compute is separate from this. So I just wanted to use this to highlight the potential here, but also the fact that it's growing so fast. Again, you need somebody, a partner that can grow with you, that can provide the capabilities that can scale. And then on the right, what you see is this broken down by highlighting what are the core growth markets. And it should not surprise you that manufacturing and natural resources being mining, oil and gas, forestry, things like that, that's the center of gravity here. But we also have opportunities in connected autos, in healthcare, government. So this is definitely very much a growth market. We need somebody who can align with that growth market to work with us. And in particular, because the other shift that we see, as I highlighted to you when I was talking about the previous forecast, is it's really shifting. The environment is evolving towards business outcomes. In other words, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, you could come in and have a conversation strictly about the technology. I want to get the data off of my asset so I can start looking at it, because right now I just send a technician to look at it. But the world has evolved now to, we're looking at business outcomes. We're looking to increase asset uptime. We're looking to improve operating equipment efficiency. Actually, we're looking to add extra days of production if possible. So what we're seeing is actually the shift from just the technical, let me get the data off, to business outcomes powered by IoT. So that actually really does drive a need for a view from the edge and the IoT capabilities to the IoT platform, to the application. with a focus on what does that specific customer in that specific vertical need to do. So partnerships with a variety of organizations that have both IoT platform and applications is increasingly key. And then I need a partner who understands the challenge of the data, both in my environment, getting the data in my environment, but plugging into applications and systems of record. So as we continue to think about this, this really drives a shift to thinking about an ecosystem at the end user enterprise where I have the business, I have the engineering or operations teams and IT, and I need to be thinking about a partner that can work with all of those, because it's no longer just a technology conversation. It's a business, it's an operations or product and an IT conversation. That's what I need in this market. The other part about that, and if you think about those audiences, is that we really need a clear view then of what this is going to cost me. And the cost structure in part is a challenge because I often am dealing with multiple partners. So I actually need a set of partners where they work together to make sure that there's a clear bill, or at least a clear set of communication to me about what's it going to cost me for the software, services, hardware, and communications. But it's not just that. I need them to work together so well that they can actually take out some of that cost. They can actually use their hardware and their sensors to simplify the integration environment, which will reduce my service costs. Or they can automate through some of their integration paths capabilities, some of the things that I would have to do for services. The other part about it is they would also design in the hardware the ways to analyze the data on the edge to give me an event architecture, because I don't need all the data to go up to the cloud that says I'm okay. What I really need is when something crosses a threshold. So how do I really look at this? And it's an event architecture where I take those non-events, keep them down, and only send events up, because that will also help me cut my cost for operating that environment. So a set of partners that work together to manage that cost, but also in an architecture, in an environment where actually I have distributed computing, because I'm going to want to process some of the data on the asset, some of the data on the edge, and then some of the data in the cloud where I can bring more context. That's part of the thought process that we need to have here. So somebody who comes to me that brings a full view of a computing topology that gives me a good view of what do I really need in this environment and where does it need to be. But it's not just that partner gets it, it's that they'll talk to, they will work with my team on site, because it's my engineers, it's my operators who know what data is important, when, and why. So making sure that my team is working with them is the other part. So a partner that brings a distributed computing topology, a view of that, but also who works with my team to use that. And so this is key, because at the end of the day, these are all money projects. These are projects where we are investing significantly. And what I'll highlight to you on the left is, this is our most recent survey of end users on their spend for emerging technologies. So we asked a variety of ones, and in this particular case, you see that the N is 142. What were their investments on edge capabilities? So this would be edge AI and edge compute in the past 12 months, as well as projecting forward. So this data is from November, so it's the most recent data. And so you can see, first of all, it almost doubled. So the mean budget, 263,000, almost doubled to 460. So, okay, it's a little bit under, it's 43-ish%. But what I would emphasize is the other thing that you see is the projects definitely got bigger. We're going to, for example, projects at that $250,000 and up phase, $500,000 and up. And there's 8% of projects that are at that million or higher. So the projects are definitely bigger. But the other thing is, again, to emphasize the need for that audience of the business, the operations or product teams, and the IT teams. These are business projects. These are no longer just about, hey, I need that data. It's about employee productivity. It's about how do we automate business processes. It's about improving existing products or improving that competitive positioning relative to the peers. So those would be the top four. And so when we're in that kind of environment, I need partners that work with me that really understand business issues as well as technology. That's going to be one of the core things that I'm very much looking for, but it's also that they can talk to the different parts of my organization, because I'm going to need that partner's help to really scale up, to really deploy in different environments. Because when I'm incorporating these IoT and edge capabilities in, for example, a smart product, I want their advice when I'm thinking not just about how to implement it in the product, but also in my marketing, in my sales strategy. I'll even want their input in terms of the pricing. So these are the things that I would want to emphasize to you. And I thank you for your time, because I believe I'm at the edge of my time. And so I'll hand back to you, Massimo. Thank you very much, or Ajay.
Thank you very much, Alfonso. We really appreciate your time and your passion, and your insight was extremely helpful. Thanks again.
No, thank you.
Maurizio, maybe you can hand over.
Yes. Hello to everyone. I'm Maurizio Caporali, Chief Product Officer of the SECO Group. I'm going to introduce a vertical application of Clea. Me and my team have a strong background on user experience design and service design. We analyze the customer needs to define added value service based on Clea. The important aspect is to give value to the data. Thanks to our background in design solutions for connected devices, we help customers to have insight from the data. Sometimes the idea of AI application is something that happens like magic, but AI services is a complex process that we start from the needs of our customer and the characteristic of the hardware sensor devices to take information from the field. I will show you some of our projects where we have worked together with the customer to design specific services. Thanks to this activity and from different cross-sector experience, we have generated strong IP in different verticals. This IP enabled the possibility to create and accelerate the time to market for our customer. The flexibility of Clea platform and a set of predefined AI solution can provide cost reduction to enable new business model in a fast way. Here you will find some examples. As you can see, we have many real applications in different sectors. These solutions are defined with a set of Clea apps to have a fast time to market for a complete solutions. It's very important to understand that we define solution for different level of use. We start with the main application for fleet management, predictive maintenance, refill optimization, and then we go in detail for the different level of user, for example, for the final user. This is very important to create a win-win solution. For example, for Clea AI charging station, Clea sends the information also to the mobile app of the final user or to the digital service of the car to give information about the free charging stations or the status of the charger and the predictive time of charge. These solutions are based on our machine learning models IP applied on the edge or to the cloud. We define with the technical team where to apply the model to have the best performance. We have computer vision AI models, for example, for pose detection, movement classification. These are applied on fitness equipments. Object recognition, people tracking, age gender recognition, or BLA data analytics model are used for smart buildings applications, for retail application, or for signage. As you can see, the Clea applications are many, thanks to the activity of the user experience team and the AI and software development team. In this slide, you have the possibility to find some links to details video of the solutions. I'm at your disposal for clarification and more information. Thank you. Now there are the section for question and answer for the first part. Thank you.
Thank you, Maurizio. And also thank you to all of the speakers so far today. We now have an opportunity for questions regarding the information which has been presented so far. As a reminder, if you would like to ask a question, please use the raise hand function on your screen, or for those dialing in, it's *9 on your keypad. Once your name is announced, please unmute your line, state your company name before asking your question. Our first question today comes from Anna Frontana. Please go ahead, Anna, the floor to you.
Hi, good afternoon, and thanks everyone for your presentation. I just wanted to ask, as Max mentioned, that actually the Clea App Store will be launched basically in less than 1 year. If you can elaborate a little bit more on the benefits that this app will have on the overall SECO business model, either in terms of competitive advantages, I guess you will be offering something which is innovative to your clients, but also if we can touch a little bit on the economics if possible. Thank you.
Right. I think the Clea App Store will be launched in March 2023 and will be an ecosystem together with our customers that are using Clea, and also to open actually the opportunity to create AI apps from third party or from customers by themselves on Clea. What we will offer to our customers is a complete ecosystem to enable our customers actually to make business from themselves in terms of servitization of this business. Basically, will be a huge stores with thousands of apps divided by verticals. We will literally population with hundreds of apps already ready to go from the beginning at the launch. We will continue to increase it further. The mechanism, how it will work on economics point of view, will be very simple because it will be extremely equal to the app stores. Basically, SECO will get around 30% of the revenue that each app will generate, and we will offer apps on AI where basically our customers will be the developer. We'll get 70% of the revenue on these specific apps. And we will charge $1 or $10 or $25 per month per apps. It's depend from the kind of apps and the kind of verticals. For instance, as Alfonso mentioned, there are some verticals like oil and gas or industrial factory automation where people can pay $10 or $25 per month per apps or per a bundle of apps. And there are other sectors where customers are willing to pay maybe a couple of dollars or less for, again, a single apps or more if we are talking about a bundle of apps. That's basically the new business model that we will implement starting from March 23, and we'll continue to evolve our business model, scaling up the value chain.
Thank you, Anna, for your question today. Perfect, thank you. We currently have no further questions queued. As a reminder, if anybody would like to ask a question, do please use the raise hand function on your screen. We actually have a question from ADV. ADV, please unmute your line and please go ahead.
Hello, this is Andrea De Vita, actually, from Banca Akros. Just a follow-up on the previous question. So I understand your business model would be to create an app store, and you correctly made an example of Apple, however, which is mainly a B2C. I would like to understand, so there are many differences, I believe, between a B2C and a B2B store. So I think I would argue that the B2B store would need some customization and would be there would be some very different probably needs from one customer to another. And so I wonder whether this model would work with little, let's say, intervention from your behalf, or if it does not require teams of people looking at this and customizing in case application. So basically my question is about the difference between the B2B and B2C store. If you can make an example of another, let's say, proper or effective B2B store that you could aim for.
Well, what we are creating actually is something unique. Will be a B2B store with, as I said, a lot of mechanisms very similar to the B2C store. And the reason why is so simple, because actually what customers needs is to have a store where they can sell their services, and we will provide the entire infrastructure to distribute worldwide an apps or a set of apps or a bundle of apps to customers. That's basically the mechanism. Of course, the mechanism behind it is it's not equal to the B2C. We have, of course, already decided how the infrastructure will work. Clea is already have already inside a good portion of this infrastructure. We are developing further the rest of the infrastructure from technical point of view that we need to put in place within the end of this year to be able to have a 3-month of testing period before going live into March 2023. That's the plan.
So you don't need to customize anything on that. There will be no action on the product sold by your clients. It's sold as it is.
Exactly. Because the customization that you are referring to is something that we basically did while in advance with customers before publishing the apps on the store, meaning that a customers can have is basically 40, 20, something like that, apps that are generating by them, actually using also our teams that helps them to generate the app that are already customized for their needs and for their customers. That's the point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Massimo, and thank you, ADV, for your question today. We now have a short 10-minute break and we'll resume at 5 p.m. CET, which is 4 p.m. UK time. That's a 10-minute break and we will resume the second half of today's presentation. Thank you, everyone.
I think we can actually restart now. Let me to introduce Andrea Toigo, which is the head of Europe of Intel, and I want to thank Andrea for your time today. So Andrea, you can go and start with the presentation.
Thank you, Massimo. Andrea Torigo. I'm managing IoT business at Intel for EMEA territory. So let me start with a quick intro on, basically starting from what Alfonso from Gartner was already sharing with us. That is basically the huge transformation that has been happening in the overall infrastructure. So when everything started around computing, roughly 50 something years ago, there was basically mainframes and thin clients. Then we were basically going into server client kind of business, and then there has been, thanks to something that started to happen, that is virtualization. There was the cloud was born, and the paradigm initially was to put everything in a cloud. Now, that is actually not always possible because of cost of operations, with the huge amount of data, as you may see, that has been, and this is actually a Gartner projection from 2018, that is roughly 75% of all of data will be created outside of data centers, and data centers is where basically the cloud exists. With such a large amount of data that gets created outside of a data center, it is not really practical nor cost effective to push all the data back to the data center, back to the cloud, in order to be analyzed and then pushed back to the edge to be utilized and by the business. Because in the end, what you want to do is really create business outcomes from out of data. So this evolution, thanks to everything getting transformed through software, is actually that data centers has become cloud because of virtualization. That is a software and hardware connection. All the network has been virtualized in the same, in a similar fashion. And if you take a look at all kind of network, telco networks, but also every kind of network that is running a data center or any kind of infrastructure, is mainly software defined in these days. And the next thing that is really going to be software defined and extremely and heavily influenced by software is actually the edge. And on the edge, in order to run all sort of software, to have cybersecurity running on it, to have artificial intelligence running on it, to have analytics running on it, there is a need for more compute power at some extent, while keeping all of the power envelope as low as possible, making sure that everything is running smoothly on premises at the edge. And that's where really joining the forces between Intel and SECO has been really, really fruitful. From that point of view, relationship between Intel and SECO is actually partnership-like. So to us, SECO, to Intel, SECO is not just a customer, but a technology partner. What does it mean, this in practice? There are several aspects. So one of these is that in some instances, we are working with SECO for co-development of new technologies that are going to be introduced in the market. One of these, which is not a completely new technology by itself, is functional safety, but Intel products with built-in functional safety have been launched on the market last year, and SECO was an instrumental partner to us to finalize the development and test these products of ours. And we, on the other side, of course, gave SECO access to really early products in order to be one of the first in the world to develop modules and products and services based on Intel functional safety products. So that's one of the examples. There are a number of other examples where SECO is actually really part of some of our early access programs. That is basically given access to products well before these are launched on the market, enabling, thanks also to design engineering support that we provide to SECO, enabling SECO to have products that they can really present and sell and deploy to their own customers in the same day as Intel publicly announces them on the market and gives them for sale. And this is really basically putting SECO actually at the same level as many of the other even much larger companies that are operating in the IT market. So that's really the how SECO is important to Intel and how strongly we believe in the partnership. SECO is also partner of several programs with Intel, platinum member of Intel Partner Alliance. They are also part of Intel IoT Solution Alliance, that is a co-sell program by which Intel sales force is promoting partner products and solutions in a worldwide level to enable replication of successful deployments that have happened in some place in the world, but really through what we call market-ready solutions that are sort of blueprint kind of recipes, enable replication without having to reinvent the wheel over and over again with deployments. And the other aspects where really the relationship is proven successful also in these days where supply and supply chain is quite chaotic, is by working as SECO does with its own customers. We work with SECO to have a long-term forecasting ability to enable us to serve SECO in the best way possible. As the chip shortages in many areas are so high, we cannot always guarantee full supply to SECO, but definitely we have been easing a lot of tough situations till now, and we are continuing to work, I think, in a very good way, and we'll hear later how the supply chain is improving. Main areas of collaboration span in different verticals. Industrial vertical, as I mentioned already, SECO is leading in promoting functional safety Intel products in the market, and this is also working outside of Italy, not only in Italy. So this is definitely a success story from that point of view. We are working together in transportation, specifically with the focus on EV charging appliances, and there is an ongoing collaboration in healthcare vertical, as well as in robotics, both in robotic arms as well as in AMR, so autonomous mobile robots. Yet another area that is somehow new, well, it's definitely new, is part of what is happening with the European processor initiative. That is an initiative driven by EU institutions to drive creation of a, let's say, indigenous kind of processor developed within Europe. And within these initiative, Intel is supporting SECO, that is part of this initiative, providing technical support and design support may enable SECO or support SECO in their efforts to provide components for the European exascale processor initiative. It's, as I said, long-standing partnership, very well developed, and we really look forward to further developing it in the future with such a great growth opportunity for both companies within the edge market. And with that, I hand over to Davide Catani from SECO.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Hope you can see my screen. Can someone confirm?
Yes.
We can see your screen. Please go ahead.
Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm Davide Catani, CTO at SECO, and I will provide a glimpse on the value that SECO is actually delivering on the edge computing device space. So as of today, SECO R&D consists of about 250 engineers, of which 150, as Ajay said, are dedicated to the AI-based algorithm development. This is a considerable firepower, which led us to launch approximately 46 products in 2021 and to manage about 50 ongoing design as of today. As part of our strategy, we shifted our focus from supplying boards and systems in selected verticals to be a technology partner, as Max mentioned earlier in this presentation, able to manage edge computing the complexity, no matter what the application domain. Today, our core competence is taking care of customer needs, hiding, as I said, the complexity it takes to bring a state-of-the-art edge computing solution from the edge, from the design stage to the volume production. SECO keeps investing in design tools, instruments, latest technology, and people, of course, to support customers in integrating a broad range of technologies, which are relating to electronics, ranging from power-efficient solutions for battery-powered applications, all the way up to high-performance computers for real-time processing of huge amount of data. Or HMIs, for example, covering a broad range of sizes and operating condition requirements. Of course, we are mastering wireless connectivity, including the latest standard, and a variety of sensors and peripherals that make the edge computer a sort of hub, which is interacting with the surrounding environment. On the software level, SECO covers from the operating systems and the IoT stack, as mentioned before, all the way up to artificial intelligence-based applications. We leverage our technology portfolio to fast-track new design, taking care of the development from the specification to mass production in an integrated effort with our operations in order to guarantee fast time to market. And this is true for both our off-the-shelf solutions as well as custom designs. Mastering those capabilities and leveraging investments we made, SECO is able to co-develop with customers in order to bring the latest technology to fit the specific application, as I said. And this includes artificial intelligence at the edge, as Ajay mentioned, using every kind of possible of electronic devices, ranging from microcontroller all the way up to FPGAs. And again, this is made hiding the complexity and ensuring the best class interoperability and regulatory requirement fulfillment. As part of our commitment to be a technology partner, we keep investing in early access programs for the latest technology in embedded computing. As Andrea outlined, as of today, we have, for example, 6 ongoing designs adopting new processors from major silicon vendor, among which Intel, which are not, of course, available yet to the market. And this is somehow something that vendors allows selected partners, which like SECO have the capability to manage the latest technology and its complexity. And of course, this gives us some time to market advantage over competition. Here are some examples of what we are doing in this specific space. We are about, for example, to release a solution based on the first hybrid interactive architecture from Intel, mixing performance and efficient cores with new generation graphic. And this is providing the latest infrastructure for high throughput data transfer. This is perfectly suited for applications like medical imaging, for example, or high-end machine vision. We are also working on a new cost-effective and energy-efficient architecture from NXP that is capable of running a hardware-accelerated artificial intelligence inference, at the edge. Suitable use cases for these products are face detection, speaker recognition, voice control, object detection or segmentation, as well as gesture recognition, which are instrumental to build advanced user experience. Another ongoing project is related to a solution from Rockchip for high-end human-machine interfaces, with the goal to get top-class user experience for mobile-like applications. And this is including hardware-accelerated AI-based inference to build natural interactions or augmented reality scenarios. As the result of these investments in technology and early access program, SECO's roadmap is delivering customers significant value. For these reasons, we start opening pre-orders with respect to the actual release for mass production. This is help our partners and early adopters to secure the access to latest developments, having priority access to delivery schedule with respect to the delivery schedule, the possibility to quickly integrate new functionalities and in the end products, and bottom line, cut the development time and ultimately time to market. Let me also say that being a solution provider in the Internet of Things space means to us offering a consistent approach to cybersecurity. And for us, cybersecurity, needs to be a system level, needs to be addressed at the system level. And in this kind of approach, SECO is already offering significant asset to customers for them to build secure products at the hardware level, operating system level, and IoT stack. We are working to release important improvements and recently launched a strategic partnership with Exane to further extend our approach to cybersecurity. In fact, this partnership is going to deliver some innovative and relevant advancement to our offering, providing, for example, an AI-based agent running at the edge. And this is going to detect threats that might be trying to alter the intended device behavior when the device is under operation. Another significant improvement in partnership with Exane is going to be the capability to verify the AI-based apps, part of our Clea offering, against vulnerability and exposures before they are actually deployed at the edge. This way, we will be improving the security level over the entire edge device lifecycle. We will be rolling out those advancements starting in September, and of course, it will be possible to retrofit device fleets. Let me stress once more that also in cybersecurity space, SECO is offering to customers a diversified, modular, and yet flexible approach, and a pool of technology to be customized for the specific application, adopting a convenient software as a service approach. And this is mostly all from my side, and I will hand over to Angelo for his portion. Thank you.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm Angelo Paloni, and I am the Chief Operating Officer of SECO Group. I'm going to show in a few minutes what we are doing at SECO in terms of execution, how we are facing this not easy phase, and which kind of strategies we are put in place to promote and improve our business model. We we have production in-house, and we have all possible solutions on production planning. Critical solution can be easily solved thanks to the possibility to switch the production from one plant to a different one. Our footprint is composed by 5 plants in 3 different regions. 2 plants are located in Italy, 2 in Germany, and 1 in China. Actual internal production capacity is more than 700,000 units per year, with around 70% of capacity utilization rate. We do outsource through actual 6 certified contract manufacturers, 2 in Italy, 2 in US, and 2 are global, with several plants distributed on different locations worldwide. This is the structure we have designed and implemented to support the development of our business. Therefore, we have maintained the ability to be very flexible and fast through internal production, and at the same time offer scalability with the sourcing of production through qualified suppliers, both in proximity and in the other parts of the world. Of course, we guarantee quality standards by supervising through recurring audits with our team on all production sites. We are able to provide the best support and service to all of our customers, keeping the full control of the entire supply chain, with a single goal of bringing the products to market efficiently at the right time and with desired quality. From design to mass production, we understand flexibility and customer relationship are more than important. So we focus our effort and attention to place continuous improvement and excellence at the heart of our processes. For each market, we know how to provide the right electronic manufacturing solution. Experts for years in engineering and manufacturing, our facilities have the cutting edge of technology equipment. Thanks to the manufacturing concept, we have built and developed fast processes to operate and execute our activities and our production cycle with high efficiency and quality. Just to give you an idea, we standardize our production process in order to have a standard cycle times and takt times to complete all type of standard system unit every 5 minutes. In addition to printed circuit board assembly, we provide box build integration for subsystems and modules, as well as for product integration. We at SECO, our core expertise is not only to support the customers on the manufacturing side of the project. We offer integrated design at each stage of the product life cycle, identifying the challenges we will face in the mass production environment from the very beginning, reducing time to market while increasing competitiveness. With cross-functional team composed by sourcing, manufacturing, and design engineering, we are able to support all kinds of customer requests, reducing the time to market, cutting the lead times on procurement, and selecting the best production planning starting from prototype phase to mass production. Global planning activity between operations and sales on a monthly basis allow us to focus on value-added activities, maximizing resource and minimizing time execution to deliver on time. We develop production planning starting from rolling forecast from top 20 customers in order to make purchasing and material planning in advance. We activated a series of activities and strategies internally to face the emergency of the semiconductor shortage in the best way and with minimal impact to our customers. First of all, in 2021, we decided to raise the stock level of raw material of a total about 12 million euros with the aim of having autonomy and availability on the material. We have made a record in the last quarter, reaching 45 million in turnover, with an overdue backlog of almost 4 million, making up plus 51% compared to the same quarter of the previous year, without waste the gross margin, which keep practically stable compared to the previous year. The shortage affected in general SECO business, especially in edge computing products, where we observed a lighter reduction of margin. I cannot confirm we had no difficulties, but I can underline the advantage we had in dealing with the emergency situation to avoid the line down of our customers. Thanks to the total control of the factory in terms of planning and scheduling of all activities of production processes, and thanks to the possibility to allocate material to the customers in a correct way, we have been able to solve many difficulties. This has been appreciated by our customers who have highlighted our advantage towards our competition. Going slightly deeper, we have identified different levels of alarms, which through an escalation process, we have activated different layers of our organization up to directly involve the management. This process has performed correctly and has allowed us, in some cases, to make fast and effective decisions, solving complex situations. The starting point of the escalation is the supplier, who is involved in the issue by arranging progressively meetings with the highest levels of his organization, up to SECO management, which has been able to take decisions with impact on cross areas, such as validating alternative products very quickly, or even to change the design by replacing the components that generate issues with equivalence from a functional point of view. In some cases, we also had to face important cost increase on raw materials and sharing with our customers in full trust and transparency by temporarily applying price increase, especially at the end of the margin of finished products. We also take advantage from the integration with the SECO Northern Europe by maximizing the synergies in the purchasing and production area for a total value of approximately 2 million euros, achieving right now to approximately get 50% of synergy compared to the potential ones. We are now working on the integration of both final and SECO Northern Europe on the same ERP, that is SAP, and we expect to complete the entire rollout process by the end of this year. This will allow us to obtain advantages compared to the current situation. It will allow us to connect all companies in a very strong way, allowing us to centralize some important functions at the group level, as purchasing and industrial engineering. It will allow us to emphasize even more the advantage of having FEN in the group. That is the company dedicated to the production of TFT and PCAP, to main part to take advantage for us and for our customer in reducing the time to market. At the end, just to summarize, the most relevant benefit we are going to take from these strategies are to gain power on procurement, collecting the volumes from different business areas, improve the margin, integrating final products on HMI solution provided by SECO in Europe, standardizing best practice and KPIs in order to do the continuous improvement and easily make decisions, getting a common set of data extracted from same ERP and guideline. That's basically all from my side. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm now handing over to Max to continue. Thanks again.
Thank you, Angelo. Just to finish our Capital Markets Day, I want now to focus on strategy, because we see partnership and M&A as two great and fundamental tools, basically to accelerate further our growth and also to have a faster time to market. So, and these are the three key areas on which we are working, strategically speaking, to put down a partnership or M&A's activities. And let me start in summarizing what we did in the past, because I think we already generated a lot of value, proven that we are using M&A as a right tool to create value for our shareholders. we acquired Funnel in China in 2018, end of 2018, and it was a 3 million euro company, which is now at the end of 2021 a 15 million company, and it is growing in an amazing way also in the 2022. We acquired InHand in US in 2019. We merged it with SECO US. It was a 12 million euro business. We closed the 2021 around 21 million euro. And again, this part is growing, I should say, above 40% year on year. And also we acquired basically Garz & Fricke, which is now SECO Northern Europe, and we are starting to accelerate their growth path, and I'm pretty much sure that we will accelerate a lot their growth path also in the future. What we did now is to accelerate from 10 million to 12 million, but I think we will accelerate further it during the course of this year and in the next year too. And also we did 4 different acquisitions in software. Part from AD Lab, where basically Maurizio Caporali was to Ispirata, the company of Dario Freddi in Opeli and Oro Networks, Ajay Malik one. So we combine all the 2 together, we merge all the 2 into SECO Mind, which is now 5 million euro business, but is growing more than double the business during this year. And well, we already created a lot of value with M&A, and we plan to continue. And our strategy is very, very clear. What we want and what we look is a company on the hardware side that can improve the SECO geographic presence and then can provide additional customers to spread the Clea on top, upselling it as per existing customers. And on the Clea side, what we are looking are a small company that can add further functionality to our cool platform. Last but not least, we are looking in the world of apps on AI, and I think something in this kind of space will happen very soon, because we wanted to accelerate our time to market into creating an ecosystem of apps that will enable us to have a very successful Clea App Store with a lot of apps over there, which is very important also to drive a lot of customers into the store. So basically that's our strategy. What we are looking also, and actually I'm working on, are very large company into hardware space, focus on EMS activities, so manufacturing activities that can add value to their business model using Clea, spreading Clea on top of their solution in many different kind of vertical markets. So basically that's all from my side. I want now to try to summarize where we are and where we are going. Just to close my point, I think we are evolving our business model into a SaaS business, and we will further evolving it in the future, having Clea plus app. It is a game changer actually for SECO. And I think we are creating and we are on track on it, a market leader, a new leader with a new strategy and product offering and technology offering into the IoT AI space. And where we are going is pretty much clear in my mind. We are creating a 400 million plus revenue company by the 2025. That's our target. This target is only considering the strong organic growth that we are facing, which is driven by a lot of new customers, driven by existing new customers, and driven by the software offering that is taking right now a lot of traction. Well, this is a very ambitious plan, but we are on track, and we will deliver it, and with some lucky, we also will beat it. And why I am so confident? Also because we have a very strong team. We built it in the last 5 years. I spent a lot of time on it, and we have now a great team, an international team that can execute the day-by-day business. But believe me, it's not so simple in a situation where market conditions in supply chain are tough in one end, and we are also facing a huge increasing into orders intakes, into backlog, into volume of pipeline, meaning that we are working very hard to make things happen, but actually is exactly what we are doing. Basically, the things are happening every day, and we are growing every day. I'm so proud of where we are now with the company and where we are going. So thank you very much for your attention. I think now we have time for another Q&A section.
Thank you, Massimo, for your presentation today, and thank you to all of the speakers today. We now have an opportunity for questions. As a reminder, if you would like to ask a question, please use the raise hand function on your screen, or for those dialing in, it's *9 on your keypad. Once your name is announced, please unmute your line, state your company name before asking your question. So our first question today comes from Anna Frontani. Please go ahead, Anna, the floor to you.
Hi, thank you very much. Sorry, a couple of questions from me. First one, I mean, I appreciate the increased visibility that you provided on the top line today in terms of customers, new design wins, and also a couple of weeks ago with your update on 2022 guidance. But do you also have some indications for profitability, also in light of your comments related to the shortage? What kind of pressures are you seeing on your cost base as of today? And should we stick with the old EBITDA guidance of euro 40 million plus for 2022? And then the second question, which is actually related to the first one, but should we still expect an easing of the shortage in Q3, Q4 this year, or has your view changed on that?
Well, I think margin side, we can confirm what we already said to the market, that we expect 40 million plus EBITDA margin by the end of the 2022. On the shortage side, the situation is tough nowadays, even if we are starting to see some improvement. First sign, let me say, of improvement. We still expect to have something definitely better in the second half, especially in the third quarter of this year. And I think margin point of view, yes, we are effective by the shortage, of course, because sometimes we need to cover it from brokers, paying more, actually, the components. Sometimes we are able to cover it with the customers, sometimes not, but anyway, that's the life. But from my point of view, I think that is not something that is stable. It's not our business. It's our business. It's basically a business where the margin, the long-term and medium-term speaking, are not effective. So that's the point.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna, for your questions today. Our second question goes to Julian Bowe. Julian, the floor to you. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mike. Thank you very much for the presentation. If you could give us some granularity on the 400 million revenue by 2025, how shall we think about the split between hardware and software? That would be my first question. If you could also repeat your target profitability, I think I kind of miss it, if you don't mind. That would be my first question, and then I have a few follow-ups.
Okay, so well, I think we are growing extremely well in both hardware and software, because as I said, we created an ecosystem that basically generates value within itself. Basically, hardware customers are becoming interesting to software. Because you have software, you are also getting hardware. So it's really a win-win situation. Saying that, I think in terms of target, my expectation is to be able to have at least 20% of the 400 coming from software. Could be more actually. But in a position where we are now, that's the minimum that we can expect. So 20% of the 400 million, meaning 8 million plus in software. And in terms of profitability, once again, I think in the end of 2022, since we will be in the range of 200 million in revenue, I would expect EBITDA in the range of 20% plus, meaning 22, 23, 24, something like that. Let's see what's happened with the shortage in the second half. Of course, we will start to recover margin in terms of hardware, especially as soon as the shortage condition will start to improve. And I think you will see a marginal recovery, so a better profitability already starting from second quarter of 2022, but it will be better and better in the second half.
Right, thank you. Well, one of the questions I have is given that you have a quite interesting competitive edge and a strong kind of value proposition, why you can't charge more than the 3 euros per devices per month? And why do you expect the price going down? Because I think in our previous call, you were kind of expecting the fees that you charge on the devices basis to go down. So can you maybe elaborate on this point? Absolutely, yes.
I think that was referring, the conversation that we had on it, it was referring to specific sectors and the specific customers where we have customers in specific sector that can get actually 100,000 each customers or more in Clea licenses. In that case, the mechanism that you described is completely true. But there are a lot of different kind of sectors that we are actually addressing right now with different customers. Defense, for example, as Ajay mentioned before, or transportation, or factory automation. So many different smart cities, smart building, many different sectors where we can apply even 10 euro per month per device or more. So I think there is a very strong correlation in between numbers of devices from a single customers, a price per month that you can apply. Of course, high volume means low price, and low volume meaning high price. On average, I should say that yes, it was in my mind that the price could go down, the 3 euro per month per device. I'm not so sure that now is continue to be the case. I starting see something different actually in our pipeline. So maybe we can update it in June, but what we are observing from the pipeline, it's actually a lot of different customers in different kind of industries ready to pay a better price per unit.
Right, thank you. Thanks, and that's very helpful. Just maybe the last question is on scalability of Clea, and just to make sure I understand correctly, to what extent you can sort of scale the Clea platform or in a particular vertical. So let's say you do it for a specific vending machine customer. Can you replicate that for their competitors, i.e. the other vending machine customer, or do you have some exclusivity contract with the first customer for which you have done this application in the vending machine vertical?
Well, very simple. We are not willing to give and to provide exclusivity to any customers. That's first point, and that's very important. Second, yes, what we do for our customers are apps, and that apps are dedicated to our customers, meaning that in vending machine space, for example, we have customers in US right now where we did over 40 apps already, and we have customers in Europe where we are developing 20 apps for one and more than 20 for another one customers, meaning we are getting different customers and providing them different kind of apps. And that's also the sense of the Clea App stores. So the Clea App stores is really the tool that we will put in place to scale the business, to scale the business model. Because at that point, if you are a new customers into vending machine, for instance, and you wanted to buy apps, you can go on the app stores and you can acquire the app that you want. Of course, you need to pay for it, but it can provide you a time to market equal to zero or couple of weeks to install Clea. That's all. And that's where we are going. Will be something that you should understand that the industrial market is different from the B2C market, meaning that our time to market is longer compared to the B2C, but that's the direction, and I think we will start to see the effect on it already in the 2023.
Thank you, Massimo, and thank you, Julian, for your questions today.
Thank you.
We now have a further question from Matteo Bonizoni. Please go ahead, Matteo.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Max. Two questions, basically. The first one is, can you elaborate a little bit on the expected capital intensity of your business, including clearly tangible, but even more intangible CapEx to get these 200 million euro revenues in 2025? This is clearly helpful for us, for everybody, to translate from an EBITDA margin to cash conversion and EBIT margin, let's say, over the longer term. And the second question, which I have, is a sort of your view on the competitive environment. So we have, it has been very helpful, this presentation, in understanding how you are trying to differentiate and what could be your points of strength in a competitive arena, which in which growth will be there, clearly. A lot of growth will be there, but we can also, let's say, assume that also this could attract competitor, or also, let's say, make your current competitor like Advantech, or also the big companies in software more aggressive to capture this growth in the IoT SaaS business. So basically, what's your view on the competitive environment in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years in your, particularly in your software business? Thanks.
Okay, let me start from your last question, because it's very important. I think you may understand from the today presentation that actually SECO is completely different now, and will be more different again in the 2023 from the competition. When I mean the competition, I'm referring to the old competition in my mind, the company like Advantech that are coming from hardware. Basically the market where we was only a couple of years ago. Basically, SECO now is in a unique position in terms of what we can really provide to our customers. And that's the reason why we are growing much more than the competition. And I think with all the work that we are doing into customization of artificial intelligence apps for customers, we are basically enlarging our competitive advantage versus competition, creating a huge gap that could be very difficult for this kind of competitors to close or to try to reduce. I think software-wise, the only company that is acting on the market is PTC, which is a super cool company with a very nice platform. It's a different kind of company, meaning different dimension, different kind of customers. They are addressing 5 billion revenue customer and up. And I think SECO is addressing 3 billion revenue customer down. That's the big difference in between. And the AI, anyway, is creating a lot of difference in between SECO and also software competitor like PTC. Last but not least, the capability to provide actually the combination of hardware and software is very important. Not only for the time to market, as we already discussed many times, not only for the time, the cost of the project for customers' point of view, but even if, as you may understood from Gartner today, that in the future, what will be very important, customer point of view, will be the cost of the data, meaning the cost that they need to pay to utilize and to harness their data? Well, having a company like SECO can split the analysis of the data in between the edge and the cloud will optimize the cost customer point of view. That will be the future. And that is the point, and this is the reason why we are getting a lot of growth, and we will continue to get a lot of growth also in the future, because SECO can provide not only hardware, not only software, but a combination of the two. It can organize the platform to enable the platform to say to the platform, look, this part of elaboration, you will perform it on the edge. Another part, you will perform it on the cloud. And it will make the difference on cost, customer's point of view. Covering your second questions that is relating to CapEx, basically what I see is the same level of CapEx basically that we had in the 2021, also into the 2022, more or less. In terms of working capital, we are in a very difficult and tough situation, and we decided to invest into our business. That's the reason why we got a lot of components, and we increased a lot our stock inventories. Well, that's not forever. When the market will return back to the normality, I should say 2020 and 2023, at that point you will see working capital decreasing with an incidence which is historically in the range of 23, 24, in this kind of range. We are now actually in the range of 40 or more, or slightly more, and I think that's will be the key differentiation factor on the cash generation. My suggestions is do not make assumption on our business model based on this kind of quarter, because in this kind of quarter you have shortage, a huge shortage situation, which is not normal. And so in my opinion, it's not correct to put this kind of condition as permanent into your model.
Thank you, Matteo, for your questions today. And we now go to Lucas Wojcicki. Please go ahead, Lucas.
Hi, Max. Thanks for the presentation. And one main question is on sort of Clea. When you talk about the Clea App Store and product roadmap, how should we think about different type of products that you will acquire, develop organically, and sort of get through partnership like the recent cyber? So right now you have an analytics module and you have a cybersecurity partnership. What are the key priorities in terms of the internal R&D, M&A, and more partnerships? And those partnerships, at what type of gross margin is the revenue from, let's say, selling a cybersecurity module right now on Clea coming?
Well, the gross profit margin from cybersecurity is, let me say, better than the average margin that we are getting in the range of 50%. So it's slightly better on the cybersecurity. The other good news is cybersecurity, we are selling it in the SaaS business model, so we will add recurring revenue to our piece of hardware, even if without Clea. We are also, of course, selling it also into the Clea platform. So if you are a customer, so you can get it only with hardware, or you can get it only with Clea. Of course, we can create a bundle. In that case, the margin will go down to around 40 if you are making a bundle. Well, generally speaking, what we are looking for is now to shrink our time to market versus the Clea App Store, meaning that we are looking now basically M&A and partnership activity to try to reduce time to market to have apps working on Clea. Basically, that's the key partnership that now and M&A activities that now are focusing ourselves in this kind of period. And when you think an app, you can think 100% of gross profit margin, because in Clea we have 80% just because we are selling also connectivity inside the offering. With an apps, you can have basically it's software, so you can have 100% of margin. That's a real good point in my mind to pursue these kind of opportunities and to continue to evolve our business model.
Thank you, Massimo, and thank you, Lucas, for your questions today. We just have one final question now from Alessandro Tortora. Please go ahead, Alessandro.
Thanks. I have three, let's say, final question, if I may. The first one is related, let's say, it's a follow-up on production capacity and operation. If you can give us, let's say, an idea if you are currently happy with, let's say, this mix of internal production capacity, but also this certified external producer, or you believe at a certain point, considering the growth you were forecasting, it would be the case, for instance, to let's say make a significant, let's say, ramp up of capex, or for instance to, let's say, have some acquisition in order also to have I don't know, production capacity, for instance, in the US. So just to have local, let's say, production capacity. This is the first question. I don't know if do you want to go one by one?
Yes, we can go.
Or,
Yes, we can go one by one. I think I don't know if Angelo Peloni is on the line, or maybe.
Yes, sure, Max. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Maybe Angelo, you want to cover this one?
Yes, of course. We, as I said before, we have a 70% of utilization rate. So we are investigating also to found a new supplier for outsourcing, but also to, let me say, can change our strategy in terms to have locally the opportunity to build out also our product. So in the USA, also in China.
Yes, basically, Alessandro, to complete the Angelo questions, looking the 2025, I should say we may decided to have one-time capex during the course of the next 3 years to increase our production capacity. Yes, it makes sense. Geographically speaking, could have a lot of sense to create also local production in US, because actually we are growing a lot over there, and could be also good for customers to have a made USA product. So the answer is yes, it makes sense.
okay, thanks. The second question is on, let's say, the portion of revenues, projected portion of revenues coming from, let's say, from software. Considering what you said in terms of, let's say, some applications, some reference markets, do you, let's say, have in mind some, how can I say, top contributor, like, I don't know, vending machine, or some, let's say, smart cities or some smart factories? So just some top contributors inside hardware, or maybe you see US clients, for instance, adopting a software solution much more than European ones. So just to have an idea, how do you see by region and by reference market, the mix inside the software sales?
So what we did was to start from Italy and to start to address customers in Italy. We discovered that it worked very well. So we started in US, and also there worked extremely well. And now we just started in Germany, and we are discovering a huge demand coming also from Germany. And in terms of end markets, it's literally, as Dario mentioned, and Maurizio also explained to you, provide a lot of videos that show the work that we are doing in several different kind of verticals. Basically, the demands is huge, but it's coming from literally a lot of different kind of verticals. So smart city is one, of course, heavy charger, but also parking, advanced parking, to have, you know, artificial intelligence that help customers to optimizing the monetization of the space into the parking, or inside the building. So smart building, we have a bigger customers that is making billboards, digital billboards, and he is now connecting Clea to have artificial intelligence that will provide to these customers a lot of significant insights to increase his revenue on advertising, for example. But we have industrial automation, where we have a huge demand of Clea on OEM, big OEM around the world. Boiler, we have a huge demand on boilers, producer in Germany especially. Aeolic, again, we have an inverter maker very big in Germany that is looking to connect Clea with his inverter to control the aeolic pile and to be able to have data on top of it. Think tobacco machine, vending machine, a lot of different kind of customers in a very well spread geographical parts. That's actually the situation. We are getting traction. We are getting a lot of traction. That's the reality.
Okay. The last, let's say, question is on the, let's say, 2025 target, let's say, to reach at least 400 million. If understood well, let's say also in the full year presentation, it was supposed to be a sort of mix between organic, but also, let's say, some creative M&A. Now, if understood well, the idea is that this target could be achieved totally organically speaking.
Yes, this is based on design win that we already got and that we are getting. As you saw from the today presentation, we already got over 65 million in design win, meaning that is a new revenue that will come into our P&L, starting from a portion of it in 2023 and another portion into 2024. On top of it, we have a pipeline only in hardware, which is above already 300 million euro, meaning that we have existing customers that are growing, we have new customers, we have design win, we have pipeline. So we have monthly order intake, we have the backlog growth, we have all the key indicators that are showing us that the growth path is sustainable. What we are getting this year is something that we can apply slightly below maybe, but not too much into the 2022 to 2025 period.
No, okay. The question was just related to this point, because in the end, assuming it would be fully organic, basically you're telling us that the company has all the possibility, let's say, to achieve, let's say, I don't want to say 30%, but let's say close to 30% organic CAGR, okay, over the period. Just to, okay.
I confirm it, and I would like to say that could be higher.
Okay.
Not less for sure.
Okay. And just if I may, the last curiosity is clearly the company, as you explained during the presentation, has this advantage of a full integrated solution between hardware and software. Do you see, for instance, any client preferring SECO, for instance, compared to, let's say, also the Taiwanese guys, because now the company has, how can I say, much more complete offer, but also because you see, how can I say, some geopolitical reason or some how can I say, uncertainty related to, let's say, all the let's say, a bottleneck we are discussing about supply chain and so on. So a sort of fast track, let's say, for SECO being a European, also for European clients.
That's correct. And I should say not only in Europe, but also in US. That's becoming very important. So US customers don't like too much to have a Taiwanese supplier in their supply chain. And since SECO is an European company with a strong US presence, it's becoming appealing for this kind of customers, not only because we have unique competence all together, but also because as per our geographically footprint, we feel, they feel SECO more safe as a supplier, long-term, medium-term speaking. That's true. That's I was this morning, by the way, to a very big, and of course I don't want to make the name of the customer, so don't ask. But it's a very big customer. It's a listed company. It's an Italian company, and I was this morning visiting them and their CEO. And basically, she told to me that basically they will work a lot with SECO because we are European, Italian, and she think that is value now.
Okay, thanks for that.
Thank you, Alessandro, for your questions today, and thank you, Massimo. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I'm sorry, but we now have run out of time today. If you do have any follow-up questions, please do reach out to the team. I will now hand back to Massimo for any final comments before bringing this presentation to a close. Please go ahead, Massimo.
No, thank you very much to everyone in the call for the time that you dedicated to us. See you soon. Bye-bye. Ciao. Ciao, ciao.
This presentation will now come to a close. Thank you for joining.